Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? I have returned just like I promised, and I got another crazy one for you. This one is another story that happened in Texas, given to me or sent to me by one of my viewers, and of course I thanked them on my last video, so no need to do that today. But anyway, but yes, this story is actually about a young teenager this time. His name is Brice Coates. Now, it was a pretty short story because it just happened. Like, he went missing about 2 weeks ago, and this was in I think it's Burnett, Texas. But in the area where the little boy that I talked about in my last video, he disappeared in the same area. But yeah, with this story, like I said, it's real short and there's only but so much information that they gathered about what happened because it's still fresh and they haven't really dug too much into it just yet. But the family members are mourning the possible loss of the Brice teen after a body was discovered Tuesday, and days after family and friends began searching for him. I say that because the fact that his body was badly decomposed, they couldn't do a well enough autopsy on it, so they probably have to do the autopsy report or the DNA, or the identification part on his teeth, because that's normally what happens when the body is either badly decomposed or badly beaten, you name it. They have to use the teeth to actually identify the person who was found dead, and that's what they have to do here before the family can get any confirmation on if that was him or not. But it seems like it was during the time frame of when he went missing, and then finding this dead body in a shed behind a church. But like I said, 18-year-old Brice Coates was last seen on Red Street a week ago after having a disagreement with his girlfriend outside of his friend's home, in Petrolia, which is actually the area where they lived in. It's Petrolia, Texas. Now, at around 1 Tuesday afternoon, Sheriff Kenny Lemon says a body was found in a shed on property behind First Baptist Church by the property owner. He says the body was that of a white male in his mid to late teens, but was decomposed beyond identification, and that's where the DNA from the teeth comes in. The sheriff says the body was sent off to the autopsy to determine cause of death and identification. The sheriff says there is no signs of foul play. Okay, now first of all, I think in a later video they actually say that they couldn't find any cause of death on the body. I'm not sure. I don't think it had a video for that. It just had information on this. It was basically the same information that they talked about in the video from the first video. But in a case like this, where he just up and vanishes after having an argument with his girlfriend, many people will probably say maybe she had something to do with it, or maybe somebody that was at his friend's house was friends with her, or they may have been secretly in a relationship, so he took care of him. I don't know. It could be anything. You gotta draw an idea from all different sizes of straws. So you don't want to leave anything out, and that would be the first thing I would think of on a human perspective or human aspect. Now, the fact that he just vanishes without a trace, and then they found a body in a shed somewhere who is still not identified as Brice Coates until they get the autopsy back or the DNA test done. But it is a very firm possibility because, like I said, the time frames matches of when he actually disappeared and the fact that he was found dead, or somebody was found dead in a shed somewhere. Now, I would want to know where he disappeared at, which was around the area where he had the argument with his girlfriend. It was at his friend's house. So maybe he stormed off after that. So there's no guarantee that he disappeared near where his best friend was and his girlfriend. He might have something might have happened to him on his way to where it is he was gonna go. But he obviously probably stomped off, mad about his girlfriend, whatever his girlfriend did, and he just took off. So somewhere between point A and point B, he was alone, just like all the others, and then poof, he disappears for 2 weeks and is found dead, in a shed somewhere. That doesn't have all of the criterias or the characteristics of the cases in David Paulides' books, but it does fit a parameter of what is said about these strange deaths. The fact that he just disappears for 2 weeks and isn't found, and then he's found dead in the shed somewhere. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't check that area, because with the search party they went all over, and then all of a sudden you find him dead in the shed. I would want to know how far is the shed from that house, and what kind of trail or whatever could he have gone on in order to get to the area where the church was. Or did he even go there in the first place? He might have been placed there by some other means. Now that some other means could mean anything from a serial killer to someone that just wanted him dead, to aliens or dimensional travelers who have the ability to levitate you and carry you off to another area and just place you somewhere else. That would be my take on the situation, because of the fact that you're dealing with something that has no logic. You're dealing with something that happens too many times for you to say that, it's just a coincidence. Okay? But the fact that all these people are being found dead without a cause of death, it just doesn't make any sense. And you would think people would wake up and realize that that is a very strange characteristic in all these cases. The fact that 90% of the time, the bodies are found with no cause of death. So, why is that? What origin would that scenario come from, to where everybody is found dead the same exact way without a cause of death? And they're found in different positions, like face down or face up. They are partially clothed. Most of their clothes are missing. Their shoes are gone. Or if the shoes are found, but the body isn't, the shoes are pristine. These are things that you just cannot explain as to why that happens. You try to come up with every known reason known to man and to the human mind of what could have happened to that young boy. And none of it fits. Because once you break all that down, and if you know the mind of a criminal, serial killer, or whatever, you can pretty much map out what he would have done to get the job done, and see if it matches up with all these other killers. When it doesn't, you throw that out, and then you bring in another idea, and then when that don't work, you throw that out. These are all logical factors that they use. Anything dealing with logic, that way they can explain it, they say, okay, that's what happened. Especially if it has a human element. If it doesn't have a human element, then we got a problem. So, like I said, you scoop out all these factors that may have something to do with why he went missing, and all these factors, like I said, is dealing with human factors. Okay? There is only one way for that to happen: as a human, they did it, or this kind of person did it, or that kind of person did it. They categorize everything to make out a map of what happened. But that doesn't always work. It works with human casualties, and human casualties that were caused by another human. But when you're dealing with this level of death, it cannot be explained. You can come up with every known logical reason that you could ever think of, and it will not fit, not one single iota, dealing with this case. Why is that? I can tell you a million things why that is, but you have to have an open mind, which is why I know you are here. Your mind is open. You want me to supply you with open-mindedness and information. that it only fits the open mind. Well, what do I think happened? Shoot, I would think I had already explained it. But let's go back. He's arguing with his girlfriend at his best friend's house. Obviously, if you break it down and realize the scenario, they have an argument. What happens after you have an argument and you just finish with it? You storm off. So I would imagine that's what he did. He stormed off, mad as hell. The girlfriend was mad as she goes back to whatever it was she was doing to her best friends. That was another thing that kind of makes me a little weird about this. Why would you leave your girlfriend, mad or not, at your best friend's house? We all know how that scenario goes when it comes to the best friend and your girlfriend. Just because you ain't around don't mean that she ain't doing something she ain't supposed to be doing. And she's young, so that's going to happen. He storms off. But I would be thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to leave her with that dude. You know, that's my best friend. Yeah, but he trusts him. Most guys would never say that. But he trusts him. That's his best friend. They probably been best friends since they were in preschool or first grade. So naturally, he would trust him around her more than he would trust anybody else. So that leaves out that area, that area of expertise. And then okay, so now he's just storming off. Where is he going? Nobody knows. But he had to been traveling in the direction of the shed behind the church. He had to be putting the end up over there. That's why I want to find out how far was the house where he was last seen at from the church. And that would give me an idea as to what could have happened. How is it that he gonna go this way, but then he veers off to a church which is probably hundreds of miles away? As a matter of fact, the guy that sent me the video, I'm going to text him on Facebook and find out if he can tell me, how far was the house from the church. So that could open up some more doors as far as how all this happened. Because when you reading his books, David Paulides' books, and he talks about the distance between point A and point B, which was where he was last seen, which would be outside of a bar after having fun with people. You decide to split off from the group. Next thing you know, 56 days later, you end up in the doggone river somewhere. So you going here, but you end up over there. That's impossible to the logical thinking mind. So obviously somebody carried him there and dropped him in the water. The question is who? Well, in my case, what? That's what I would say. I would say what? Because it's going to be very hard for a person to carry a body from one area to another. Because maybe if he was going to that area, somebody met up with him somewhere in the middle. And they beat him up a couple times or they knocked him out. They wanted to try some new drug that was given to them by the government. And they wanted to try it on him to see what would happen. Next thing you know, poof. You're gone for 56 days. And next thing you know, you end up in the water somewhere. Face down like all the other men in these cases. Was it face up? I think it's face. Ugh. So I haven't been in that book in a while. I've been reading all these stories from the internet. I think it's face. I want to say face up, but I think it's face down. I think the women are normally found, I think, face up, and the men are always face down. I don't know, but anyway, I have to check that out again. But like I said, in his case, there's a lot of areas you can go into to figure out what might have happened to him before he disappeared. Okay, but as far as Brice here, his girlfriend having a disagreement, he storms off in the middle of that disagreement. Okay, but then you're gonna leave your girlfriend with your best friend and some other guy or whatever. I'm like, what? Let me try to do a little something with her. Now I don't think even a young teenager would be that mad enough to just leave your girl behind with somebody else. Now, if it's your best friend since like preschool or first grade, then okay, that's one thing because you trust him with your life. You guys are like tight. You're like brothers, so I can understand that. But when you throw that out after you realize that couldn't have had nothing else to do with it, given the nature of the disappearance and the death. So you start to tiptoe over to the other side of the fence. This side is your logical fence. Oh, well, this is the logical side of the fence. On this side, you got everything from here to the sun on anything that isn't logical. And it has a lot of information. Over here, you just got a couple of layers. So you got human, pedophile, mass murderer, da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. That ain't as much as this. Over here, you got like a freaking pile of that stuff. It's just, it covers up the entire area of the fence. So you got all these different ideas to choose from. Okay, so he disappears for 2 weeks. Where was he those 2 weeks? How is it that a person can just disappear before he dies, and then when he's dead, you find him way over here somewhere? So that space between last seen and dead, you got to piece all that together. You got to put in all these different ideas and match them up like a puzzle. And then boom, you got your evidence right there. So let's break it down a little bit more. We are talking about what could have happened. Okay. He leaves the house. He leaves the area where him and his girlfriend and his best friend was. He's storming off. Now, did she watch him where he was going, or did she just turn around and stomp off and do whatever it is she was gonna do? Probably go home and sulk. Nobody obviously saw this boy walk in the direction where he was going. Okay, so he could have went to the left and crossed somebody's yard to go this way, and went to the right and went down the street to go this way. I don't know what that area looks like. I just know that. I'm just saying he could have cut across someone's yard like we used to all do when we were kids, or he just went wherever. Now, where he was going, we don't know. I don't think that he was going to a shed in the back of a church. That much I can already tell. That's just common sense. So, what put him there? If that wasn't his initial direction to go into, what put him there? Did he want to go there? Did he want to go to the church and pray? I don't know. Did he want to go in the shed and pick up some tools that wasn't his and go do something with it? Something that most teenagers would probably do. We don't know that either. He took all that information with him. But there's so many levels to this. You try to think of every possible avenue you can go down to find out what happened to that boy. And I just named quite a few of them. You got your logical side and you got your illogical side. You know, so we're gonna go down the street a little bit from the illogical to mysterious. It's possible that he met up with something that he couldn't get away from. It took him, held him for 2 weeks straight, and all of a sudden, bam, right there in the shed. Now, by the fact that this is a fresh case that just happened a couple days ago, and the fact that any kind of evidence that you could possibly get from it is not going to be able to get, because this may be a strange case. Now, they didn't mention anything about the fact that he was partially clothed. They didn't say anything about his shoes or his feet. He was badly decomposed, so they couldn't identify him. But I'm pretty sure that the corpse that they found had clothes on. Okay? Now, if the person's clothes were removed before they were killed, yeah, I can see that. But he was badly decomposed. He was missing for 2 weeks. So they may have to been doing something to that body for it to end up like that. You know, or whatever, or whoever kept that boy. They remove the clothes. Was he partially naked? Did he just have his underwear on with his socks and no shoes? Nobody knows. So that's what I would want to know. But I gotta find out if he can get that information, and then I will do a post video on it, or I'll probably mention it during another video that I'll be making, just so you can get clarified on the situation with that young boy. So, but yeah, that's about it. You know, I can come up with every single theory I can think of what happened to him. You know, because it's like I said, he had to have been messed with. Something came to him. It could have been another guy or whoever. It could have been something that we can't explain that met up with him during this walk, or, you know, walk of anger. I don't know. But something met with him between point A and point B. Now, let's just say he was going straight down this road, but the church is like maybe a couple of 100 yards away, or maybe a mile away or so from where he is, right here. It's way over there. So if you're going this way, you just say, oh, you know what, I'm going to go by the church and do whatever. Why would you even make a turn like that if you're too mad to even think about something like that? I mean, if I'm mad, I want to go home. I don't want to go to a church. Now, if you're going to a church to, pray to God and say that I got mad with my girlfriend, you're repenting because of what you did. That's one thing, but I don't think that was what he was going to do, because if that was the case, he wouldn't be in the shed. He'd be somewhere in the church. But I don't think that whoever did it, or whatever they didn't want to touch the church. That's why they ended up in the shed. But at the same time, they're probably saying, this may be a church, but they still let you know that you are not safe when we're here. But take you anyway. We don't care about all that. That seems to be what the problem is. They have no remorse for the human life, so they take it in any means possible by sucking out your energy, which is what I think is the main reason why these bodies are turning up dead with no cause of death. What could do something like that? If you think about it, if you remove a person's energy, how are you going to do that? You're not going to do it with it. You're not going to cut open a hole in their body so that the energy will just seep out. It doesn't work like that. So I would imagine they use some sort of device or ability where you can drain the person's energy and make it your own. And you drain the energy to the point where the person just dies for not having enough energy to take another breath. Okay? That doesn't leave any constrictions in the throat or anything. I mean, I would think if he was choking, you would see some redness here, but it's no sign of. Ooh. My phone. My mistake. Thought I heard my phone ringing. But anyway, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so with that being said, that type of situation can be talked about in theory, because it still matches, not completely, but it does match most of the criteria in David Paulides' books, and that's the fact that he just disappears for 2 weeks. How can a person disappear for 2 weeks and then end up dead somewhere? I mean, I would think that somebody would have seen him get picked up, or he saw him get in the car, or this or that, or whatever it could be. Nobody knows. But he just vanished and then disappears for 2 weeks, and he's found dead in the shed. Dead in the shed. Just weird. So, what else could it be? Until I can get more information on it, I can't really say otherwise, but I can think about what could have happened. But I can still need more information, like, how far was the house from the church. Therefore, I could determine if that would have been a suitable place for him to go because of his anger. Now, if he was going in to repent by him arguing with his girlfriend, like I said, that's one thing. But if it's that far, why would you make an extra effort to get to the church, and then somebody met with you near the church, and then they threw you in the shed? I don't know. That could be something. It may not be something. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's It's a pretty weird story right there. Jam packed with so many ideas of what could have happened to him, because there's no outright evidence to state that something happened to him. You just find a dead body. A person went missing, but what happened to him between the point when he went missing and he was found dead? Was he tortured? Was he being used as a guinea pig? Was he on one of them cold white tables that you find, on those UFOs? Nobody knows. The only way they can do that is if they identify the body, and they have to use the teeth to do that. And if they know, if it's determined that that was him, then they can put family at rest. But, well, not put the family at rest, but they can rest and put the boy to rest, for him to have a proper burial, but it's just a lot, but like I said, I have to get more information on him, and I'm gonna ask the guy how that main question: how far is the house from the church with that case? As a matter of fact, okay, he just hit me up on Facebook. Okay, let me see. All right. Oh, okay. He was missing for 1 week, not 2. Okay. Asking this question. All right. Say O first. How far was the best friend's house from the church? You see, he had text me at 9:27, so it's been about 10 or a little over minutes since then. But anyway, yeah. So, like I said, there's a lot of evidence that you could come up with, or a lot of theories you can come up with to map out what happened to him. But until we can really, really understand what's going on here, that's all we're going to have is theories. That's all, because it's just mind-boggling, that stuff like this can happen and we can't explain it. Now, if we were well-educated, any unexplained, and all of the things that we look at is, like I said before, folklore, fairy tales, make-believe, you name it. Anything that we look at is something that isn't real, and it's a fantasy, or science fiction. We need to, pull back a little bit and realize that what we think of as not reality or something that is very unbelievable, anyway, it's just a big mess. That's a question that I haven't found out yet. Because he was asking me who was the best friend. I said, I don't know. They never said. They just said she was arguing with him in front of his best friend's house. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to see which one of those videos will show the information. Not this one. This is an up-to-date one. Because they got one. Oh, I was already looking at that one. Okay, there we go. This might give me something. Let's see. Okay, he was, like I said, he was at a place called, he was on a street called Reed Street a week ago. Yeah, and after having a disagreement with his girlfriend outside his friend's home in Petrolia. Okay, so it wasn't his best friend, it was just a friend. Okay, so, yeah, like I said, you always got to make sure you read all the information so you can really understand it. So it wasn't his best friend, it was just a friend's house. So they were probably all hanging out together. And see, this makes it even more crazy because I was talking about this earlier. You just going to leave your girlfriend with your friend or with a friend? I mean, they may know each other probably through school and they obviously hang out together, but that's not like what you would call a friend, like your best friend or something like that. So I definitely wouldn't leave my girl at a friend's house. She'd get mad at you. Next thing you know, they start talking and they start making out, and next thing you know they're dating, and she dropped you for him because you were arguing with her. Not saying that would actually happen. I've seen it happen. It happened to me, you know. So I was a teenager too, you know. But yeah, it's all this information is just gonna carry this whole situation down the aisle of the mysterious and the paranormal. I see that because you disappeared for a week and then you found dead somewhere. That means you were held somewhere in an area where no one could see you. You know, my thing is, how did you get picked up? Somebody could have at least seen that, I would think, or they weren't paying attention, which it happens a lot. But still, you would have heard something or seen something, or they go back and say, did you hear anything or whatever? You know, they would have to map out the areas he could have traveled, which would be near the church. And I still got to find out how far the church was from the house. Now, he said he didn't know, so hopefully he'll find out, you know, and then he'll get back with me. But, yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy. Let's see. Okay, he's gonna do some digging real quick about the distance between the house and the church. I would love to know how far that was, because I think it was in two different towns. Obviously, yeah, the church I think was in a different town, because he said those two towns aren't far from each other, but still, that's a good distance for you to be traveling just to go to a church, and somebody takes care of you somewhere between those two places. You know, so okay, so when he get back with me, hopefully he can tell me how far the church was from the house. You know, because like I said, it was obviously the church was in a different town, so that makes it even more mysterious. You know, how people always say they cut you up in little pieces and spirits all over the country. You know, so they couldn't find the body. You know, and for them to take the whole body to the next town and just drop them off somewhere. The question is, who did it? Who could do something like that? Who could carry you way over there? Even if you had a car, there's going to be evidence of you driving off in the car. The car is noisy. Even if it's a nice, quiet, runnable car, you still gonna hear it. You know, so I'm just, well, you ain't gonna hear an electric car. Them such as quiet as hell. But I mean, just a regular car. You know, and you start the engine, you're gonna hear it start up, and then you're gonna hear it. You know, either the engine sound like when it's taking off or whatever. You know, you're gonna hear all that stuff. When people use their senses to, you know, notice things, like you're hearing something, you know, or you see something with your eyes. Or you smell the exhaust from the car, so you know something just took off or something just drove by, you know, at a certain rate of speed. Now, if he was taken, somebody had to have seen it, but I don't think they did, because if that was the case, somebody would have said something by now. Well, and even if they do, it's going to be like weeks later saying, yeah, well, yeah, I heard somebody, you know, talking, and they started arguing. Next thing you know, it got quiet, and then I heard a car drive off. That would be logical if that was what the case was, and if she heard it, or if he heard it. You know, so I figured that's a good way to find out. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Oh yeah, he was last seen from a particular street in Petrolia. Oh, I already know. It's Reed Street. Let me know before you get there. Let's see. There we go. So it was Reed Street, and he's gonna find out the street of where, you know, where the church is. So, but yeah, I'm gonna end this here, and I'll come back at you guys with another video soon. I'll talk about the information on my next video once I get it. But that's all for now. I want to bid you guys aloha, mahalo, and a huiho, because it's time to go. I got things to do, and I got some more stories to gather for you guys. So it's a job, and I'm here to do it. All right, but I need your help too. You know how I do it, and you know what you guys got to do. Tell your friends about me. Hit me with those thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Tell all your friends to do the same, because if they like hearing about this stuff, it's cool. Because I remember when I first started talking about my channel, and I was asking my coworkers about. I asked this one coworker about my channel, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've been watching you, man. You're pretty good." And I'm like, dang, I didn't barely get the words out of my mouth. He already saying that he been watching my channel the whole time, and I didn't even know it. He didn't say anything, but he said he saw a couple of videos. I was like, okay, cool, that's what's up. I asked him a couple of days ago, he's been watching cause I got a new video out. And he said, I ain't been on it in a while, which is typical. I mean, I don't be on YouTube every day myself unless I'm doing this. Excuse me, and that's like 3 days a week. At least I try to make it 3 days a week, But anyway, guys, it's about that time to shut this down. I will have more coming in a soon to be video. But yes, you know how I do. I get some information, I give it to you. And this, I'm gonna see if I can dig up some more information on most of these cases I read about in the past 2 days. And I think I got some more information. Well, I got some information on another case. I got to look into it, and then I'll get back with you guys on that. But other than that, I gotta go. I want to thank you guys for subscribing to my channel, and a big welcome to the new subscribers. I hope you enjoy what you see and what you hear. Also, I just want to thank everybody for being such a big fan of my channel. And the ones that have been contacting me and asking me questions, and we're going, tit for tat on the information on what it could be, and I like that. That's why I said I want us to be a team. If you got any questions you want to ask me. We can comment about it, and I'll talk about it on my channel. That way our thoughts get out there with the rest of the people, so they can hear other people and what they got to say on what they think can happen, what they think is happening out there. And so, like I said, I really want to do that. I really want you guys to focus on the strangest theory you could come up with when it comes to these cases. Pay attention to the way they were found, how long they were gone before they found, the distance between point A and point B. Try to see if you can get some information on, the nature of the body, as far as was the body partially naked? Was the shoes missing? Were there any bullet holes, strangulation marks, ligature marks, or knife wounds? All this stuff. When you look at all these criteria surrounding a case like that, you got to look at everything. All the stuff that most people wouldn't even look at. Now, back in the day, before David Paulides even made this stuff known, I'm pretty sure that people did talk about weird cases. That most of these cases are on the internet. So yeah, a lot of these cases hadn't been touched by David Paulides. And there are other people that do the same thing. But let's just say they found a dead body, and they may be partially clothed or whatever. A lot of that information didn't even get to the media because they just know they found a person and da-da-da. They probably didn't really think about how weird it was to a point where it had to be important enough for everyone to know about it. And that's where David Paulides came in. And that's why he did what he did. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. If there's weird evidence surrounding a case like that, but the media doesn't want to talk about it, the police department wants to shut it down, they don't want to know anything about it because it's just too weird for them. I mean, if you go home to your house, you may even have a ghost in your house and you just ain't telling nobody. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen the paranormal. I'm pretty sure you've seen the weird stuff before. But don't act like you don't know what it's all about when you get to work. If you see something weird, you need to talk about it. Don't shut it down. Don't clam up about it. Even the coroner's office does that. They come up with the most asinine reason for them being dead ever. When you see weird stuff surrounding the body or how the body was found, why are you going to say it was accidental drowning? Or why are you going to say it was hypothermia? Or why are you going to say succumb to the elements? First of all, that's okay. Succumbing to the elements, that's one thing. But all the other stuff, please, come on now. If you see something weird, talk about it. Bring it to the public, man. Bring it to the people. Power of the people, brother. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the whole point is, if you know something, you need to talk about it. If something weird going on with the family members, deceased, other family member, something is weird. You need to let them know. Don't put them in the shadows and act like they don't need to know. That's stupid. If it's their friend or their family member, they supposed to know. But you want to keep all this stuff secret. Now, I can understand if you're doing it to protect the family because you don't want them to find out that something weird happened. They just want to know if their son is alive or dead. You know, of course, they're going to want to know what happened. So they want to know, was he shot? Or was he strangled? Was he molested? What? And none of that stuff was found on or in the body. There was no evidence to state all of this. Then you have the stuff that they don't want you to know about. Meaning, well, here's the thing. He was missing for 2 weeks, but he only been in the water for 3 days. Or you've been gone for like 10 days, but you was in the water for 5 days maybe. You know, so you'd be like, okay, where were you the other days for you to be in the water for that shorter time? Makes no sense, right? And then you got the fact that the body was partially clothed. And then we'll say the funny thing about it was he was dry when we found him. Yet we found him near a body of water. I would think that maybe he fell in the water and he swam as much as he could and he died right here as soon as he got out of the water from exhaustion. But that's not a factor in that case. Okay? That doesn't make any sense. None of it does. Okay? How is it that he's bone dry, but yet you said he had to crawl out of the water just to, get to land because he was tired of swimming and died there from exhaustion? It still doesn't make any sense because his body shouldn't be that dry. It should be shriveled up like a grape, especially on your fingertips. Didn't find that either. But then you see the shoes, which were missing. You see the socks. They're clean. They're pristine white. The body is dry. Okay? No cause of death in the body. There's no drugs in the system. Nothing. But yet, your son is dead, and they still can't figure out how he died. So what they do, they come up with a reason to just squash the whole thing. Oh, he drowned. But you don't find that evidence on or in the body. He died somehow. And yet, at the same time, there's GHB in the system. Yet, he doesn't drink, he don't do drugs. So how did that get in there? Exactly, yes, weird. None of it makes any sense. Or, let's talk about the fact that if the body is found in the body of water, they either face down every single time, or they face up every single time. You dig the body out of the water, but you're still partially clothed, and it's December or September. Why are you taking your clothes off in the middle of the winter? Why? I don't get it. Makes no sense. Why would you do that? Oh, I know why. Hypothermia. That's the one thing that they always use when it comes to these people being found dead near bodies of water or in bodies of water. Hypothermia. There wasn't enough time for him to experience hypothermia, you idiot. My nerves. Anyway. Here's the thing. When you see all this stuff, it's going to be weird. Okay? It's going to be weird. You ain't going to be able to understand it. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. You can only talk about it. You can only see what it's all about. But it's still not going to answer any questions. You can come up with every theory you can think of. Your theories are sound, and they all make sense. But when you got this person over here saying that, well, that doesn't make any sense, that's not logical, but that doesn't happen, you don't want to talk about it because they're not going to believe you anyway. Okay, so you get put on the back burner, and then they come back saying that, well, from what the autopsy stated in the coroner's office, he died from accidental drowning. Yet you recognize all this other stuff dealing with the body, which makes no sense. Why was his shoes missing? Why were the socks missing? And the clothes that he didn't have on was folded up neatly on a log somewhere. Oh, here's another thing. He's found hundreds of miles away from where he was last seen. How did he get from point A to point B? More importantly, why? If he said he was going home, or that he was going to leave, why would he go all the way to the lake or to the river and then drown? Okay, you right here. The river is way over there. But yet, you somehow veered off from your original course and went that way. Why? That is the initial question here, folks. Why are these things happening? Why are they going from point A to point B in two different directions? Let's just say you going home. Your home is that way, but the river, your home is that way, and the river is that way. Why in the hell are you going that way if your house is over here? So, you start to think, why would he do that? He hates the water. He doesn't even know how to swim. That would be me. But yet, you're in the river. Why were you in the river? You can't even swim. Right? Was he drinking before that? Most of the time, if you were a teenager, you coming from a bar, or you in college, you drinking back a couple of shots or a couple of drinks, drinking a couple of beers, and they say, you know what? I'm getting tired. I'm going to go home. That's another characteristic in these cases. They always seem to get tired all of a sudden, or they're not feeling well all of a sudden. Then they say, I'm going to walk home. But here's the even crazy part. Your so-called friends aren't making sure that you get home safe. You had to walk home. Those ain't friends. Now, either these friends are faulty, or they were somehow mind controlled by something, blocking them from that thought so that he can go off on his own and they can take him. Something makes these people not think to say stuff like that. Or the fact that this person is in a crowded room in a club, but yet nobody saw him leave. I'm telling you, you got bouncers over here. You got a woman over here shaking her booty. You got this dude over here trying to, do his thing with the female that's shaking her booty. But nobody sees you. Nobody sees you walk towards the door and walk out the door. Nobody sees you do any of that. They saw you go upstairs. The CCTV camera catches you going into the bathroom, coming out talking to somebody on the top floor, and you come back down, all of a sudden, poof, you're out of range of the camera. Then that's when you disappear. And then you're found miles and miles away, outside the club, through some woods, where there's a lake or a river. So you done went from inside the club to the outside, across some odd miles, and then you end up in the river somewhere. It's almost like you Peter Pan behind all the way over to this lake and then just fell in the water. Something picked you up and carried you there. There's no footprints that lead to that area. There's too many footprints to cover, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure they would. If they got cadaver dogs, they would have to, right? But they won't never think of that. They're going to say, they're going to look for the closest place possible. Or if the dog is, getting the scent to go that way, you're going to follow it, and you're going to keep moving, you're going to keep running, you're going to keep walking, the dog going to keep barking for at least a good 2 miles. And then what? They're at the spot where you find the body. Or they search the area with the dogs, it followed the scent to one spot, and then the scent just stops. This is what really happens. The scent stops right there. Or they just can't find the scent. Okay? Now you traveling all these miles when it don't even look like he could even went that far just to get to the water. Why would he in the first place? If he's supposed to be going that way to his house. But yet you end up that way in the river. Okay? The dog's following. They can't find the scent. Or if they find the scent, it'll stop dead right here. It won't go any further than that. Even the dog can realize what's going on and how creepy that is. So the dog starts to walk in a circle, and it lays down. You hear that? They don't want to search anymore after that, because even they know something ain't right. And dogs don't do that. They happy when it comes to searching for people. That's part of their job. So it's a part of their life. So they gonna be just wagging their tail, tongues flapping in the wind, ears flapping all over the place. They barking like crazy, sniffing stuff. They love that. That's what they are made to do. That's what they're born to do. They're breeders, and that's their job. Okay, but these dogs, they're the same way, but they didn't want to search. The instant they saw something went right, they was like, "Man, fuck this. I'm sitting down. I'm done. I don't want nothing to do with it. So, and like I said, they'll sniff it, they'll find the scent, but the scent is carrying you in an area that should have been inaccessible, or it's just too far. Why would you go 2 miles to a river and then drown? You're supposed to be going home that way, but you over here. How did you even get there in the first place? Why would you be there in the first place? What, did you certainly think that your house is that way, and then when you woke up, you was already dead? Well, of course, you can't wake up and realize you're dead unless you hovering over your body, but anyway, that's something else. But yeah, that's wow. Whew, boy, I tell you, this is just crazy. You know, when I think about it, I be like, you just gotta stop and just breathe. You're like, this doesn't make any sense. It's crazy, but I gotta keep doing it. I gotta keep trying to find out what's doing this. So when you start saying the stuff that makes sense to you or to someone that would believe it, and you're getting close. The more and more I listen to Coast to Coast AM, the more I start to find out about things that match up what could be happening to these people, like the reptilian aliens eating the human body, eating the human while it's still alive. But they eat it in such a way they don't leave any trace of any kind. I'm talking blood, brain matter, muscle fragments, skin, a little bit of guts, you name it. None of that stuff is ever found. All you find is a bone and a tooth, or sometimes just the tooth. Or maybe you just find all the clothes, including the socks, but the shoes are missing. And one tiny little bone is inside the sock, a tibia. Weird. Makes you wonder every day, what could be doing this? And no matter how many times you try to figure it out, you try to say it's demons, or it's aliens, Bigfoot, the chupacabra, shadow people, you name it. All that stuff is a huge factor in these cases, you know. But there's just no answer. You, like I said before, you can come up with every theory you could think of, and it still won't answer the question. Because even though you answered the question, the clarification got to come from them. The Park Service, the FBI, the government, whoever. They got to clarify that. They don't really have to, but it makes sense once they open up their mouth. And they're not going to do that. Because if that was the case, they would have did this years ago when Jerry Adadero disappeared. Or when Dennis Martin disappeared. You know? Or even the female, or Keith Parkins, or the female that David Paulides always talks about because she lives so close to home. You know, Stacey Ann Harris. Okay, now that's the weirdest one of all, because she walks into a line of trees, or walks through a line of trees, and disappears without a trace. I'm talking poof, like Copperfield gone. Okay, and all they found after all that was the lens cap to her camera. How can that happen? Even in the woods, there's got to be something out there, folks. And that's what I'm here to do. And what we're here to do. Figure out what. The answer is right there in front of our face. We just got to say it. And we got to believe it. We can't look at it and act like, okay, well, it's got to be a serial killer. I'm not going to believe that crap. That don't make no sense. What don't make sense is it really. Actually, it does make sense. What normally don't make sense is actually the truth. And we have to come to terms with that. But if we don't, this is going to be going on for another couple of 100 years. And they still ain't going to be able to figure out what it is. And even if they know, the people that would know would be the ones that's keeping all the secrets from us. That would be the government, right? Exactly. Shoot. I mean, plus the fact, if you're supposed to be monitoring the case, why in the heck are you committing suicide? This is what I think it was I believe his name was. He was a detective. I mean, not a detective, but an FBI agent that was covering the case of, I believe, the Dennis Martin case. Okay? He committed suicide. He took everything that we could ever know about what's going on with him. And I think that could be the reason why he got so overwhelmed by keeping that kind of secret from the parents and acting all tough, like you don't care, or you don't have to say nothing if you don't want to. You kill yourself. Why would he do that? I mean, shoot, you could have became a whistleblower and told everybody, but you didn't. You would rather go to your grave than to tell that secret. So that lets me know there is something weird going on out here, folks. For an FBI agent of all people to commit suicide, he obviously knew something that we didn't know. Okay, he knew the truth. These are the keepers of all the secrets. The government. And are we going to get a disclosure? I believe we're getting one right now. It's just that the people who are the whistleblowers don't realize it. Because a lot of these people are going to the government and they get picked to tell their story, but not to the point where they get ousted by the public. They give them all this information about UFOs and what they really are, who they really are, what they're really here for, and all this stuff, everything. They give them all this information and they leak it to us. So technically, that is a disclosure. We just got to realize that. Don't look at it as a person who being a whistleblower. Look at it as a person who is actually giving you what you want, the disclosure, and he don't even know it. That will be the fucked up part. Is if the person who is the whistleblower don't even realize that you are actually giving us our disclosure by saying all this. But we have been clouded with so many lies and so many fabrications and stories that they cover up the real truth with, like the Roswell incident. They went from Roswell to weather balloon within a matter of days when they got on the news about it. I'm like, what? you know, I'll be thinking about that guy Brazel or Brazer. Yeah, I think it's Brazel. Had he not said anything to the government, he probably would have still had that UFO in his backyard, because I would have loved to have done that. That would have been like a centerpiece for my backyard. And this man lived on a farm, so he had acres and acres of land. So he had plenty of room out there. It's not like he would keep it in his house, right? But had he not told the government what happened, they wouldn't have been in to clean up everything that was there. I would have kept that sucker right there. I would have buried the bodies, but I would have kept all that stuff right there. And everybody would be like, what's with all that stuff in your backyard? I was riding through here and I saw all this shiny stuff. And then I saw this big, it looked like a big old like Mexican hat or a saucer of some kind. What is all they doing in your backyard? Oh, UFO crashed in my backyard. I'm keeping it as a souvenir. But don't you want to tell somebody about it? I mean, find out what it is. Why? So they can come in here and take it? Of course, they didn't know that back then. But now, if that happened, and they didn't know it crashed in my backyard, you think I'm telling them? No way, my friend. No way, Jose. But of course, with the way things are now, they would have known because they'd be tracking them. That's what they do. And I think they were tracking them back then, too. They just didn't want them to think that they were tracking them. So when the news got out about some saucer that was found in this guy Brazel's backyard, what else could they do? They had to change the story around, change the script to say, oh, it was a weather balloon. Since when does a weather balloon look like that? That was a saucer, dumbass. I'm trying not to say it. That's why I sounded like that. You know, it's a saucer. Duh. You know, a saucer does not look like a weather balloon. When they showed that weather balloon, it looked like a piece of tin foil that they were holding. It was like a big old piece of tin foil. That's what it looked like. You know, and most weather balloons are actually balloons, but they're long and they have a stem on the end with a sensor. I guess that reads the weather in the atmosphere. Okay, so how you go from this little long like aluminum balloon to that? Or how you go from that to this? Come on, guys, it make no sense. Anyway, so can you believe it? Can you believe the unknown? Can you believe that the unknown exists? Can you even believe that the unknown is actually our reality? Or part of our reality? It's like if you got a bunch of puzzle pieces, right? And one of us missing. So you only got a piece of the story that this whole puzzle is going to tell, or that piece is going to tell. So it's not completely clear. All right? You add the information that needs to be put in place to make a full story about it. That's the thing. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle that's missing. You know, and they keeping that piece of the puzzle. All right, they're not telling us everything, even though we already know. But we need their clarification to say, "Oh, it is real. Wow!" And then you start thinking, so you just let us believe this crap all our lives since the Roswell thing, and they've been here all even before us. You just now decide to tell us this? Seriously? See, that's why I don't like y'all, man. But anyway, that would be my interpretation of what would happen, because I'm like, seriously, you know, we're talking about a saucer, but you saying it was this. How do people get that from this, or this from that. And it makes no sense to me. How you gonna, anyway? How is it gonna make someone believe that it was actually a weather balloon and they held up a weather balloon, but you got this over here looks like that? Come on, people. Come on, guys. You gotta be smarter than that. So, but anyway, like I said, I hope I gave you some useful information. I hope everything that I've said to you will carry on with you for the rest of your lives. Or at least until you come back to my channel and watch another video. So, I hope that everything I've said to you sticks and everything gels. Everything is everything. And you will know more than what you did before. Because of me. Anyway, I gotta go, guys. I had fun tonight. I may put up another one, but I don't know yet because I gotta get my information together and see what I can talk about. Got an idea, but I'm gonna go over it with my peoples. You know, my constituents dealing with the channel. I don't have them people. I'm just talking. But anyway, but I will definitely see you guys later. Aloha, mahalo, and ahoyo. Peace out. Hang loose.